Well, hello, my friends. I'm Steve. Here we are again. Uh, First of all, I'd like to thank all the kind words for the posts that I've done so far. It really is encouraging and helps me find inspiration to talk about more about this wonderful revelations that I've been having. Um, for instance, today actually, a lot of the times here, I'm not, I kind of have an idea of what I want to talk about, but I'm really trying to let spirit flow. Our spirit, let our spirit just flow and see what comes in a lot of it. But I had a person message me, and today is my 1 year sobriety. It's March 17th last year. I was pulled over drinking and driving, and thankfully nobody's hurt. And it turned out to be one of the best days of my life. I think it's probably maybe the best. Well, yeah, I'm turning it into one of the best days of my life. It's turning into one of the best days of my life because from there, I went and got help. Went to a place called Henwood here in Edmonton, Alberta. It's a rehab place. And there I learned about Brene Brown and a whole bunch of other great teachers that showed me the effects of shame and all sorts of things like that on our system and body and minds, and changed my life. So I'm kind of doing these videos to hopefully express to people out there that, there are places that you can go to change. Not just because of, like, maybe you're not an addict, but whatever. But if we were to have taught, if I would have learned what I learned in Henwood when I was young, I probably never would have been an alcoholic or a drug user of any kind. Um, we really should isn't the right word, to focus on this with our youth, to let them know that shame mentality of this world is harmful and it's not right. And most of them know it, but we're brought into believing that otherwise. Let's put it that way. That's not exactly what I wanted to get into today. I'll do that maybe in my next video. We'll talk about shame and its effect on society and ourselves. But I did want to talk about that. It is 1 year sobriety, but more than that, it seems to be that moment was the time that me and my beautiful wife, Caroline, focused our lives towards removing anxiety from our daily existence. And through that, we did that through forms of spirituality, of course, analyzing ourselves, like I said, listening to Brene Brown. I read a book called You Can't Make Me Angry. I'd highly recommend that one too. I'm not going to get into it, but there's some fantastic things. The one thing I will say, one thing about that book that I'll bring up right now is at the end of the book, it says, really when it comes down to it, you're making two choices with everything you do or say. Either you speak or do what you do out of love or fear. As much as you can choose out of love, the better your life will be. And that's fantastic. It's true. How do we get to that point, though? How do we get to the point? Because as much as when I read that, I thought that is probably very true, and I've kind of gone over it in my head, and it seems to be true. The question is, is it really a choice, conscious choice? Should it be a conscious choice where you can't consciously choose everything you do? Maybe you can go back through your day and remind yourself the times when it doesn't, but when you didn't, and maybe try to change that. But wouldn't it be better just to have it permeate from our spirit, from our soul? Jesus taught that And like I said, anybody who has other religious affinities or what have you that want to speak or would like to show me maybe if you differ with my opinion or what have you, or if you agree but from a different religious view, please comment down in the bottom. I'd love to learn more, or if you have books that maybe you would like me to read or what have you. I'm reading this book right now called They Walked with Jesus by Dolores Cannon. Funny thing, I'll go into a bit of the story here. A fellow that I've met taking Science of Mind, which I've mentioned in my previous videos, taking the initial course for Science of Mind. I'm hoping I can continue with that course, but his name is Chris, and I personally believe that we were brothers in a past life. It's just I know I don't have any siblings, but to have a brother, to have a connection like a brother, this would absolutely, no doubt about it, be it. Anybody that comes in contact with us together would definitely feel the energy of brotherhood, like blood brothers. I love him very much, and I'll probably send him this video. But anyways, we met and we started talking. Like I had just taken Reiki, which I'll get into in other videos as well. He has now just taken Reiki, and we're going off to venture into possibly starting a business with Reiki in mind. Now, here in this book, Dolores Cannon, what she is she's a hypnosis. She goes back into people's past lives to help them through their present life with different sort of things. She's been doing it for, I think, 30 years or 35 years or what have you. And in this particular book, which I also want to tell you that I have the first edition of this, Jesus in the Essenes, that I went to a spiritual bookstore while I was exploring, like I just told you, like in our early times, while I was exploring just spirituality. I actually went there to grab my wife some cards. She does cards, tarot, and so on and so forth like that. I do animal cards myself, but I'm coming up with a whole bunch of stuff to talk about in these videos now. Anyways, in there, I grabbed this book. I was drawn to this book, Jesus in the Essenes by Dolores Cannon. And I've read like 3/4 of it and I put it away, and I don't know why. I liked the book. For some reason, I put it down and I didn't go back to it again. I still don't know why. But anyways, try to make a long story short because the video is going to be long. I met Chris at the course. We got to know each other a little bit. I ended up going to his house, and he starts talking to me about this book. And it didn't click in my head right away until I saw the book and I looked inside and it showed like the editions, and I went, oh my gosh, I've got Jesus in the Essenes at home. It's like the only spiritual book I'd actually bought besides like when I was Christian was the Bible and stuff like that, but alternative, I guess you would say, to what my previous religious leanings were. And I just happened to pick up that book. Those sort of things it's hard to believe that they are coincidences. Anyways, through this book, and I'm on page 159 yet, I'm not done. But what we learned, what these people are saying, I didn't tell you what it goes. She's wrote this book based on some people that she encountered that had come in contact with the person of Jesus. And there's one person in particular, Naomi. she walked with Jesus. And now I'm actually getting to the story of the crucifixion. But it paints a lot different picture than what the Bible says, and that makes sense. And something, when you read it in your soul, you go, yeah, this makes sense. First of all, the Essenes were chakra healers. Jesus grew up in chakra healing. So when he went to heal and without giving away everything in the book, but he went to some places and he'd heal, he would teach, and he would teach his people that in the towns that followed him, the people that they were called followers, he would teach them how to do chakra healing. That's what he meant by, you can do everything I'm doing, you can do. It's in you, it's part of you. You are the same as me. I'm just showing you how to be what you can be. So anyways, it was chakra healing that he was doing when he healed these people. He had gold, she would mention about gold light and all of these things. All of these are chakra healing aspects. And so I'm actually going far. I might do 2 videos because the original question to this was, what do we do now? Now that we know that Jesus manifests this belief or thought process that our Creator loves us so much that you could torture him, her, however you want to say it, spirit, whatever. There's nothing you could throw at it that would change the love. The emblem or symbol of the cross now is a symbol that we are all love. And through that, those that even try to harm us, we can know that that's not what they are. They are sick. Unfortunately, in our society right now, we are shaming, persecuting, punishing, and trying to make people be as uncomfortable as possible, to have things be as painful as possible in order to stop doing something that is a sickness. The heart of the whole biblical narrative is that, forgive them, Lord, they don't know what they do. We're sick. So how do we manifest that into the world now? How do we believe it? Do you see where the difficulty of believing this is? This means that a lot of people that do very horrific things are not evil. They're not unhelpable. A lot of this stems from long periods of lifetimes and so on and so forth like that. But everybody is healable. And you may have in your life people that have harmed you in various ways that I couldn't even possibly imagine. But Christ seems to have said, if you cannot forgive them, I cannot forgive you. And I don't believe that means that he hasn't forgiven all. He has, but we're not able to accept forgiveness of Christ if we have not forgiven. And forgiveness comes from, I believe, this belief that all that do things that are not loving are sick and don't know the truth that we are all one. that we are all brothers and sisters, and that our Creator loves each individual at such an amazing level that there is no amount of destruction, or there's no amount of pain that can be pushed on someone, or in the case of Christ, the Spirit itself, which is us, that can change that. It just is. I think I'm going to end here. Like I said, I sort of rambling on. I really would recommend this book. I might even do another video like right now. I do know that I think with this video, what I'm trying to say is, if we have people in our lives that we are having difficult forgiving, may we now, as we go off into this, try to think of what it means that Jesus expressed as these angry people tortured him because of his message of love. And he said, "Forgive them, Lord, they know not what they do." Try to relate that love was going to get into the person's heart that harmed you eventually. And maybe even more so, if we continue in our loving ways towards those that we may now think are even our enemies, as Jesus said. And express in the comment section the difficulties that may cause, because I imagine it does, and that's okay, brother, sister. That's more than okay. That's human. And I love you all. Have a great day.